Hello, Donna Kato here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my studio, and thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Now, today we're going to be doing quite a simple cane. I call it another striped cane because in the wide world of polymer clay, there are many, many, many striped canes. Now, I haven't made this cane in ages. This, as you see, this is what we're going to make in class. This is actually the first time I've made this. And, oh, so long. I think I figured this cane out probably about the time I wrote my first book. Yeah. And, you know, if you're familiar with my work, you know that much of what I do is quite simple. I seek simple solutions. And so that's what this cane was. And you will see it is quite a simple thing to make. Basically, you have to know how to do a Skinner blend. If you don't know how to do that, there is a class on my channel for instruction of that very basic polymer clay technique. So once you know that, I'm going to take you through the making a plug in this little class. So you don't have to go anywhere for that. You're just going to have to start with a Skinner blend. My original intent was to make beads. Yes, it was. Well, beads turned into pins. Yeah, they did. You know, this is also something that happens to me quite a bit. I start with one idea and it kind of morphs into something else. Now, I happen to like these very much. They're quite simple. They're just spear-shaped pins. This one, I added a little curve to the two tips, but basically it's simple stuff. Because in our lives, I know it's hard to believe, but not everybody we know wants our most over-the-top work. Sometimes they just want a simple pin, and that's kind of what this is. I mean, two of these, I already know where they're going. I have two friends who are not into like the most outrageous things I can make. So they will get these part of their Christmas, I think. So this is also, I think, a good time to make this. And perhaps somebody you know would love to have something like this. Coat pin, sweater pin, whatever. I really like them a lot. This is kind of an uncharacteristic color for me to be working in, but I'm liking it, this color combination quite a bit as well. So I think that's all I have to say for now, except for it's time to start. I'm going to use this turquoise. Now, this turquoise is essentially Kato POLYCLAY turquoise mixed with green and then mixed with white. And then I mixed more white to make a lighter shade. And I'm going to use white clay. So I'm going to begin by Skinner blending these two together. Now, if you need to learn the Skinner blend, there is a tutorial on the channel that you can follow. So in terms of the amount of clay, I would say probably 2 ounces of each color. And then the white you're going to need less of, but you're also going to need some scrap clay. Okay, so let me turn these two into a nice Skinner blend and I'll be back. Here is my blend, and if you look at it, you can see that it's not a really strong blend. The blend itself, the two colors are not, there's not a lot of contrast between them. Now, let's say you wanted it to be lighter here in this area, then you would take white clay, you roll it, and you would cut something that looks like this, you know, like that. See a curve, an arc like that, and then straight this way and this way. And when you blend it in, that way you would be adding more white to this area and in through here, and less as you get into the other turquoise. My cat just jumped on my table. So if you hear something crash, it's Dusty. Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it into a plug. let me do that. I'm going to take it, roll this clay through setting number 2 or 3. I place this side on the rollers and roll through. Okay. Now the purpose of rolling it through really is to make it a bit easier to roll up this way. You'll notice that I'm not rolling from one color to another. I'm rolling the blend back on itself like that. What I will end up with is something that looks like a Skinner blend cigar. If you have rolled yours up and you only see one color, then you have rolled it the wrong way. Okay, here we go. So I've got the full blend, and this is the way yours should look. To make a plug, I'm just going to do the whole process, I think. To make a plug, you sort of reverse reduce. I'm having trouble with my words. Taking my hands, instead of rolling out, I'm rolling in. And this is making it shorter. It's turning it into that plug we need. Now sometimes, I don't think it's going to happen in this case, but sometimes it develops like almost like a waist in the middle, where it gets thick at the ends and then it goes like a waist. If that happens, you just go like this. You just grip the ends and you twist and you push and you force the clay to fill in the areas that it apparently does not want to. Okay, we are getting there. And I will make my plug pretty short, like so. Just about that tall. It's probably about 1.5 inches. That's fine. All right, just like that. Now this is also a really good shape to store your Skinner blends in. All right, I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn it into a long strip, basically reshaping this so that it's long this way, it's flat, but it's only this tall. Now, the full blend in this height, okay? So it's important that you know which way you're going to stretch and pull. I've taught this a lot, and many times I have had students who stretch it out this way. And as they just undo everything they just did. So just remember that you want to stretch it out so that the Skinner blend is short. You do not want to stretch it out so that one color is on this side and one color is on this side. All right, I'll show you how. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen to you. Place the plug flat on your work surface with your fingers. Start pinching one side like that. Just like that. Just pinch. Try to keep it short, but just pinch. Now take it, turn it over. Pinch. Once again, you don't want it to be getting tall this way. It may want to. If it starts moving on you this way, just push it back down. Flip it over. Now, pinch the middle. And now you should have a pretty good idea the direction you're going to be pulling and thinning. Now I'm going to take, whoops, I'm going to take my acrylic rod and bang my phone. That was Vernon. He closed the door. All right. I'm just going to flatten it just a bit like this. Okay. Now what I want is I want this to be about twice the thickness of the thickest setting of the pasta machine. So there's a lot of this type of thing where you're pushing with your fingers and pulling, pushing, pulling, that sort of thing. And I find it very helpful to work against my work surface, and that keeps the whole piece more even. Every once in a while, grab your acrylic rod and roll. You can even do a little twisting, like so. And pulling and twisting and pulling. And I'm almost there. Da, da, da. And I think we're ready for the next step, which is to add a white stripe. Now this step is optional. You really do not have to do it, but I think that it'll be helpful because the blend is so subtle. So a stripe in between is going to, I think, help. My white clay, I'm going to condition it, and then we will move on to the next step. I've conditioned my clay, and I rolled it through setting 5 on my machine. Now, at this point, and you'll learn this as you make these, because it might take you a few to get to understand what the ratio of stripe to colored slab what you want. I could make this thicker. The result would be a thicker stripe, a thicker white stripe in between the blend. Okay, so this is up to you. You can make it really, really thin. You can make it medium. You can make it very thick if you want. Totally up to you. But I have decided to roll mine through setting number 5. Now I'm going to take my Skinner Blends strip and put it on here. You know, this looks like it's kind of thick, so I'm just going to stretch it out a bit further, just a bit. Yeah, I picked it up and it's like, oh, well, maybe this is way more than 2 times the thickest setting of my pasta machine, because it's like feeling that way. So let me just make sure that it's not too terribly thick. Okay, so that's much better. That is much better. So I'm going to take this and set it just like that. You see how much extra clay is on this side and this side? Well, that's because I'm going to roll this through the pasta machine, and all of this clay is going to spread out. And if I cut it exactly the same width as the strip, it's going to spread out over nothing. That's not what we want. That is not what we want. So, Now I am going to place, I'm going to get rid of some lint. I'm very linty. In the winter time, I'm very linty because I wear polar fleece because I work in a freezing cold basement. Okay, so I'm going to put this edge on the rollers and I'm going to roll through. Okay. Setting number 0 on my machine. Okay, here we go. And this is what I get. Some schmutz, but if you look, it sort of automatically trimmed. But the strip is completely covered with that white clay. All right, so my clay tends to be stiffer. If you work with my clay, you will know that I'm not telling tales. So this particular batch of clay I'm working with seems to be a little bit softer than usual, and that was a good thing, because if the white clay had been too hard, then you would have seen a lot of breakage along the edge. There might have been actually bigger areas of color that weren't covered with the white. Okay, so that white clay that sits underneath, or any stripe clay that you may use underneath, it's got to be able to stretch. It can't just break when the clay on top starts to pull on it. Okay, so I need my ruler. Okay, so and I'm not lying about this, I have to have like 15 rulers. Oh, look, I found one. I found one. But I do have many, many, many rulers. And of course I can't find one when I need one. Okay, so what have we got here? How long are you? Okay, well that is 12 inches. I'm just gonna cut this end off and cut this 6 inches long. I'm gonna take this and turn it over so that the light is on the dark and the dark is on the light. Like so. Now I will use my ruler again, and you guys know you use a ruler for this because it's quite easy to cut them different lengths, and all that means is you've lost some cane. Okay, more lint. All right, now I'm just going to stack like so. Da, da, da. Let's make sure that it's a good stack. And let's cut one more time. 3 1.5 inches. Slide one piece over, stick it on top of the other. All right. Okay. Oh, I'm going to cut this end because it's not perfect. All right, so there is the cane. You can see that the white, I think the white really helps in terms of increasing the contrast between the two colors. Excellent. Okay, good deal. Dusty. Dust. It's my cat. My sweet little kitty. And that other sound was my computer. Yeah. Driving me crazy. Okay, now it's time to make beads. I'm gonna cut here and I will be back. Here is my original cylinder. Here is a cane I made. If I take this and I wrap it around this and I make a bead, it's gonna be big. I don't want a big bead. So I'm gonna reduce this. And I'm going to reduce this. And we are going to make small beads. Yeah, we are. Because I don't want to make big beads today. I am not gonna make big beads today. More lint. My life, my life. I have cats, I have dogs, I have polar fleece, I have lint. Mostly I want this shorter. You bug me. Okay. Yes, I am not a bead maker. I don't make a lot of beads. It's not that I don't like making beads, it's just that I don't make beads. I don't know why. I don't know why. But it is not my preferred thing to make. Okay, so if I stop here, I'm gonna have pretty much a medium-sized bead. I'm stopping here, but I am going to reduce this. Okay, pardon me, I'm going to try to turn off that dinging sound. Well, I hope that did it. I really hope that did it. I'm honestly not sure. Okay. Now let's cut some slices. Don't have to be terribly thick slices. And let's just wrap these around. Yeah, it's still gonna be a pretty big bead. Big beads. Couldn't be a small, oh, so close. Can I do it? Can I just open it up a little bit and ease it in? Oh, I think I did it. Okay. That makes me happy. All right. Let's roll to smooth and join. Now, if those two slices hadn't met in such a way that I could actually make them fit, then I would either have had to cut some away, or I would have done Sarah Shriver's trick, which is to cut a wedge out of here and then bring them together. Yeah, it's a pretty brilliant trick. All right. So now I'm going to close up the ends by first depressing and then pulling the goal here is to have all the stripes and all the lines meet in one place. Have I ever done it? No. Nope. Nope. But it is my goal. See, I didn't make it. I didn't make it. Here comes my cat. Hi, Dust. All right. So look at this. I got a little capsule-shaped bead. That's not bad. I like that shape. It's like a little blue watermelon. Little blue watermelon. If I want to make it round, I just start pushing it in like that, and then pushing on the corners. You see, the hole would be here, and in order to make it round, I'm now pushing this way, not at the hole anymore. Okay. Once I achieve near roundness, then it's time to roll between my palms. And that's not too bad. It's still a little bit flat there. So there'll be a little more of this kind of thing to try to coax the clay to fill that middle area where it seems to not want to at the moment. Okay. That's not bad. It's going to take a little bit more because as I'm looking, it's curving and then it's flat and then it's curving. So I'm just going to push it with my fingers. Try to push the clay where I want it. Push it in above. Try to make it curve out. Okay. So that's pretty good. I would have to work on it just a bit more. Now let's say I wanted to make an acorn. I'm going to take the same bead and I'm just going to drop it right there. The hole would be here, and start rolling. Just roll like that. Okay, roll. And what happens is it's starting to reshape. I'm starting to pull a point out at the bottom. At this point, I will just take my fingers and start manually pulling a point out of the bottom. And now I have a teardrop, or an acorn. Okay. Well, let's make a pod. Let's make a tapering pod. So what I'm going to do is take the thing and do the same thing and start to draw a point out of the opposite side. Like so. Just pulling the point out. And lightly rolling back and forth like this to thin the middle. And you've got to check. If you want these stripes to be absolutely straight, you've got to keep checking. And at times, you have to do corrections, because they want to turn on you. So you make it nice and soft in the middle, and then you'll be able also to stretch. And once you start stretching, the stripes sort of straighten out. Okay, so we're just gonna pull it out and make it longer. Like so. Now let's say you do want the ends, you want the lines to curl, to twist at the ends. Well, that's pretty easy. You just put it down and then take this part of your hand and roll and roll and keep repositioning and roll and roll and roll. You're not rolling back and forth like this. You are rolling in one direction only. And look at that. So then you have something that looks like that. Okay, I like it. I like it a lot. Let's just pull it out a bit more. Oh yeah, I like this a lot. If we leave this side straight and this side kind of curvy, that's nice. I like it. So years ago, I made something I called squiggly beads. Guess why? Yeah, they were squiggly, all right. And they were a lot of fun to make, and the canes were all very similar to this. And I strung them together, and it was just like, woo, all these curls this way, curls that way, half curls, things that looked like question marks. And they were a lot of fun. Here comes Dusty again. Dust. Here comes my kitty. Okay, so let's take this guy, and for this particular shape, it's kind of, like that. You really do have to pull a bit of the clay out and make a nice taper like that off of both ends. And in terms of the thickest part, well, it's not, I never made it exactly in the middle. The thickest part was always slightly above center. So let's do it. I haven't done it in a very long time. I hope I remember how. Okay. So we'll start at the top. And I take my finger. Guess who that was? And I start curling. Just curling like that. And I don't do it all at once. You notice I go like this. I just push a little and then I release. I push and push a little and I release. Because it's the old thing, I want the clay to catch up. I want it to stretch where it needs to. and compress where it needs to. And then the bottom gets curled the other way, like so. And you know, the beads that I made were quite a bit larger. This is a rather small bead. I mean, purposely I wanted to make it small, but if I wanted to do, you know, my typical squiggly beads, it would have been larger, longer, and of course a greater diameter in the scrap core. But that's a sweet little thing. And I really do like this blend that way. Okay, so what started out as just a tutorial I wanted to do on tiny beads turned into a mini squiggle. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial that started out, I intended to do one thing, I ended up doing another. But I just wanted to point something out. You know the white stripe, you know where the white stripe makes the biggest difference is in the middle, right? Where the values are so much the same in both slices. That white really helped a lot. Okay, so enough for today. Maybe I'll continue on squiggles. Maybe we'll make a necklace. Maybe we'll make a bracelet. I'm not really sure where we're going with this, but that's it for today's class. So I hope you liked learning how to make this little cane and you will make squiggles. I'm Donna Kato, and I'm signing off. Well, I decided that what I just did is not quite enough. Okay, you know how to make a ball. You know how to turn a ball into a teardrop or an acorn. You know how to stretch out the two ends and make a squiggle. Well, maybe we should actually make a thing. I mean, I kind of left it there. What the heck do you do with a squiggle? Well, you know what, it's a bead. It's a bead, and that's the way I used it. But I think I'm going to continue. So we're just going to make a pin out of this. Now, if you'll note, this core is quite a bit larger because my pin is going to be larger. So I'm not going to do anything about this. Of course, I'm using the same cane. I'm going to cut my slices. Now, one thing I didn't cover as well, it's a good idea to try to make sure that the end of the wrap is really smooth. You know, like that you don't have any great big problems. I don't know how else to say it. Basically, you want to make sure that the end is smoothly integrated into the sides. Okay. Let me cut some slices. There's one. There's two. And you know what? I figure mine are about 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeters thick. Don't know how many I need. I think I cut too many. Okay, so this is what I've got. Now, let me say, if these colors were on the translucent side, then I would wrap this whole thing with white, because you would see the gray through the canes, all right? That one seems a little bit thin on one side. Make sure you alternate, like so. Okay. That one was just a little bit thin as well, but I think it'll be okay. All right, so now I also talked about these wonderful Sarah Shriver solution for making cane slices fit when you're putting them on a cylinder like this. This is pretty darn brilliant, so I want you to remember who came up with it. Her name is Sarah Shriver. That's too thin. Okay, I'm going to continue. But guys, don't do that. See how thin that is? That's gonna bother me. Maybe I should, even before we do the Sarah Schreiber thing, try to make that a little thicker. Now this is quite a bit thicker over here. But perhaps if I cut straight through the middle like that, I won't have the problem. But now it is thicker here. Okay. All right. So let's get back to the brilliance of Miss Sarah Schreiber. Okay. So rather than taking another slice, putting it up, trimming it away, and probably still not getting a perfect fit, a perfect pattern fit, this is what she came up with, which is so brilliant. Take your blade and just press it up against a cane slice like so. Cut to the middle like that. Now repeat on the other side. Cut to the middle like so. Then remove this piece. Then close it up. Now it's perfect. Now the slices meet perfectly everywhere around. Okay, that's really smart. Okay. So now I'm just rolling, desperately trying to keep it clean. Oh, I'll sand it later. Okay. First, let me do what I can to get the stray bits. You know, it's not that there's this huge, messy spot here. It's always this little, tiny bit of something that you pick up. All right, let's try this again. Okay. Yeah. Right now, I really am just trying to get all the slices to nicely join, meet. Let's close the gap between them. Okay. All right. Now I'm just gonna make a nice cut on the end. Just kind of even it out. Just like that. Let's close the ends. Just a gentle like that, just to make a little bit of a dip. Now we're going to take the clay from the sides, like we always do when we're doing this kind of thing. The goal here, of course, to have all of this meet at one point in the middle. I have never personally done that, but it is my goal. Good to have goals. Da, 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 da. Just a little bit of schmutz showing. See that schmutz? just push it back in and keep pulling the pattern over the end. That's all. Ta-ta. Now, the other side. Doink, 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 doink. I will try to do this faster. All right, so the ends are closed, but you know, I'm going to take and taper it out. So I'm going to draw points out this way. I'm going to leave the center area slightly thicker. Okay, so it's a good idea to just roll a bit and look. You don't want to just for 5 minutes and then look. So just try to keep track of what's happening under your palms. Turn it over. Okay, now perhaps, all right, like so. Ooh. And for now, I am going to try to keep the stripes straight. Just for now. Now I'm just trying to thin the center area because it's just a little bit thicker than I want. When I first started working with clay, I used to think, it used to feel like a race to me. Oh, I gotta do this fast. I rolled fast, I cut fast, I did everything fast. I'm not exactly sure why I did, but I did. And it took me a while just to settle in and say, wait. Slow down. Enjoy the process. Take your time. And you know, I think my work got better when I slowed down and I really looked at what I was doing and where I was. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. Always in a hurry. Always in a hurry. When there really is no need. Well, here I'm just pulling at the center instead of rolling. I've rolled, but of course I can make that center, this part, thinner just by pulling as well. Can't I? So this is going to be just a simple pin, like a long tapering spear. but I'm going to twist the two ends, okay? And I'm going to twist them in the same direction. It's not going to be, this is not going to twist this way and then this one twists the opposite way. I mean, it could, absolutely could do that, but I think this time I would like to twist like this. I'm going to put it down and I'm going to twist like this. I'm pushing the ends. And the ends are twisting. Da, 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 like so. Just like that. I like it. I like it. I feel that the center might still be a little bit thick, so let me just try pulling to thin. Just like so. Okay, now I could leave this perfectly round like this. Well, not perfectly round, but round like this, and then put maybe a finding on the back, and you would have this round tapering form that kind of sits up. But I think I'll turn this into 2 pins with flat backs. Just lay it out straight. Clean your blade. Start cutting, aim the blade at the ends. Honestly, sometimes I start at the end and then aim all the way across. You can do it either way. One pin. Two little pins. Just plain. Might look nice on a sweater or, and they're not too heavy because they're halves. Or a coat. Something like that. Okay, these will go in the oven. Okay, these are cured. Now, if these look different to you, there's a good reason. They are. Yes, I made these first. So I'm gonna sand. But I'm not using Abranet. Abranet is too coarse. I have a bowl of water and I have micro mesh, 1500. Put a little soap in there so it has a surfactant effect. It actually makes the water more slippery, which helps with the sanding. All right. Yeah, Abranet is like overkill for what I want to do. All right, so I'm just going to sand it with the 1500. I'm not even going to go down any finer because I am not seeking a high gloss finish. I just want to clean it up and I want it to feel good. Okay. Now this little puppy's going to go back in the oven again. And, you know, so I suppose I could have waited till the end and done a final sanding. I have a tendency maybe to over sand. A lot of times I'll do intermediate kind of sanding. I don't know, it's just habit for me. But yeah, I think I could have just waited until I'd completed the piece and then sanded at the end. Knowing me, I will sand again. Just the way things are. Okay, you don't have to watch me do this one. Okay, all right. Let us glue a tie tack back on. I'm using Loctite Super Glue Ultra Gel Control glue. I think I'll put it right there. Yeah, this is the second time I'm shooting this because I almost glued an earring post on. Yeah, well, what can I say? I grabbed the wrong thing. Just make sure that it's a tie tack back, unless you're making earrings. All right. Ta-ta. Now, I am stepping so far out of my comfort zone here. You have no idea. I'm going to back these in silver. I always back in gold. I'm going to back these in silver. So this is silver clay rolled through setting number 5. I am going to take this. I'm going to roll it through my pasta machine with this dual plex refrigerator liner stuff. And I'm going to texture it at the same time. Come on. Come on. A little floppy clay. Okay, so that's like way more clay than I need. But here we go. And there you have it. Yes, so I've had questions about the texture sponges I was using. They were from Spain. And they're quite nice. But I couldn't find them here. And then through the community, people responded and they said, oh, dual plex, refrigerator liner. And that's what this is. And it works perfectly. To me, it's the same. If you buy it, you get tons of it. You'll have it for a long, long time. All right, so I am applying my liquid clay. I got a pretty healthy amount here. That's probably more than I need. I don't want the clay to be too slippery against the back. All right, set that aside. And let me just cut a piece. Like so. Okay. 5 is pretty thin, but I think it will be fine. I don't really like very thick backing. First of all, I don't think it's necessary, but I also don't think it looks as good as having just a nice thin line exposed. Okay, so let me do the same thing on this side. Come on, stay. Stay. Oh, it'd help if I just cut some excess off, I think. Just gets in the way. When that happens, if you start and it starts pulling away, then just start in the middle and cut to the end. Sometimes it just happens. Not all the time, just sometimes. Okay. And check and make sure. See, even my clay just kind of shifted a bit. And part of that is because I think I got a little too much liquid on. So when you get a little too much liquid, what happens is your clay may slip on you. It may just kind of slide over where you don't want it. It happens. So just watch it. And if that happens, just readjust, push it back into place. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is put my signature cane on. Dun, dun, dun. Something that I used to forget to do all the time. And by the way, I still do. So here's a little tip for you. Cure a bunch of your signature cane slices. Just cure them. And if you forget and you don't want to throw a whole piece back in the oven, just glue it on the back. All right, now I'm going to cure this. It will be, I'm just going to place it in a bed of baking soda just like that with the post sticking up, and then I shall be back. So here are the pins. I did take 1/2 of the big one that I made, and I just bent the two ends in different directions. I like it. I also like the silver. I'm going to use silver more as a backing color. I just kind of fall into the black back, and that's been it. But I like the silver very much. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial. I hope you like and subscribe. Helps me a lot, and I really appreciate it. And if you're interested in taking longer, more comprehensive classes, then perhaps you'll consider joining my classroom. I hope so. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm Donna Kato, and I am signing off. Bye.